Eric Musselman comes back early, and the Arkansas Razorbacks don't shoot threes; they shoot free throws as their 1,090 something uh, games with a made 3-pointer streak ends, but they prevail in a 75-59 victory over the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm Daniel Price. That's Jacob Price. This is Arkansas Basketball Recap, the COVID edition, where both of us are apparently have the COVID now. Didn't give it to each other, ironically. So I guess maybe not ironic, but it is interesting. With 2 years of dodging Rona, that if you'd said that you and Jake have it at the same time, I would assume that there was a correlation. I would have said that we would have got that at the same time playing basketball, but that is not the case.
But yeah, Omicron, it's just everybody's got it. I mean, literally like half the people I know have it right now. But,
yeah, and we haven't seen each other before we got it. So, and I know where I got mine. I don't know where you got yours, but it ain't the same place.
No. Well, I mean, I got kids that go to school and stuff, so there's 1,000 vectors. So, but you guys will have to bear with me. I'm in the throes of Omicron, so you'll have to. My head's pretty foggy.
Such dedication though to the Hogs. Such dedication, and it had to do it because, hey, the Razorbacks extend the winning streak, and this was an interesting game. Obviously, I mean, we know that we don't shoot the three well, but you're talking about not making a three in a 40-minute college basketball game in 2022. That is weird. But I do like that Arkansas didn't shoot that many. I mean, and you could tell, I mean, South Carolina comes out in a zone. That zone bothers us a little bit for sure. It takes away JD and Chris likes to another degree. It takes away their speed because they're not having to match up with a guy that they can blow by, use their speed. Instead, they're not just drive right into the teeth of a defense. So it definitely bugged us. And what we decided was that we weren't going to do what you typically do, is say, hey, we're going to shoot you out of this zone. We said, we're just going to use this zone to make you foul us over and over and over again. And we're not going to shoot threes. We're going to shoot free throws. And that's what they did.
Yeah. I mean, that first half was pretty frustrating because that's where they attempted most of their threes and missed all of them. And their jump shots weren't going down as well. I mean, they still rebounded really well. And obviously the free throws were like more than half the points, which was, it wasn't a nice game to watch unless you love watching guys shoot free throws. But
I like watching a team shoot 81.8%. I mean, we went 27 of 33. That's just deciding how you're going to win a game. I feel like, I mean, you're going to shoot 33 free throws, and that was Arkansas imposing their will on the other team in a weird way, which is, we're just going to keep going at you. We're not going to buy. They only shot 11 threes. That's not very many threes.
It's I definitely think if I was a team playing the Hogs, I would want to go zone. But I think part of the problem is teams just don't practice zone very much. So I think all these coaches know that they should play zone on us because we can't shoot very well, but they're afraid of what happened tonight, which is it's hard to play a really, really effective zone once every 2 months. You know what I mean?
Like, to be really good at zone, you have to practice it a lot. Good zone takes a lot of discipline, because otherwise you're going to have guys running. I mean, so in high school, we played a lot of zone, mostly zone. And I was on the back side of that zone, sort of the back anchor of that zone. And I got used to it. But if you just get thrown in that position, it's weird to have these guards coming at you with a full head of steam all the time, which is what happens in the zone. Because they get by that, they go by that first guy. They don't necessarily follow them all the way down. They're coming at you, and you need to be good at not leaving your feet, good at drawing charges, good at owning your space. And that takes a lot. You don't just tell a guy to do that one game. I mean, you need to have been practiced up on that.
Well, that's what I mean. I think Arkansas, if we run into a team now or in the tournament, like if we run into Syracuse, I think we're in big trouble because if you run into a team that plays zone mostly
Mhm.
and plays it really well and recruits for it, I think we'd be screwed. We beat them because they were trying to play a zone because they thought that was their best strategy because and also they have slower players apparently. And, I mean that's what the announcers were saying. They don't have a lot
Well,
of
they,
speed personnel.
I'm sure they're looking at that and just saying we don't have anyone to guard Note, just man for man, and which is
Yeah.
probably true because honestly most teams don't.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean also we were bigger than them. I mean
Mhm.
so we're like bigger than them, faster than them, and they were still up by 7 or 8 points at halftime
Mhm.
because that zone actually was doing what they wanted to, and then they
Kind
just
of,
got overwhelmed.
yeah, kind of. I think a couple of things happened. One, they were playing a zone, but they were playing a zone. They were using it to shade Note. So Note was like playing against his zone, but anytime he got the ball, that whoever was on the offside of that was shading him, and they were really trying to take away Note, and that was pretty successful.
Yeah,
And
in the first half, he was barely there.
yeah, um, and what we did in response to that was we tried to get Jalen Williams involved early, and that worked really great. I think what happened is more than that zone really working. I thought we did a decent job of figuring it out, but it did not work. What we were trying to do to counteract the zone fell apart when Jalen Williams left the game, and you
Yeah.
could tell it in a major way. When Jalen Williams left, we were, and then Note got left too, and we had no Jalen Williams and no Note, which is ironic because last episode we talked about guys you can't lose, and it's those two guys. In fact, you can't even lose them for 7 minutes down the stretch of a game. And I think Jalen was out for more than that. I think he was out for about 10 minutes, and because he played the whole second half, never came out, and he ended up playing 30 minutes in the game. And so he plays 10 minutes, gets in foul trouble, and then Note a little bit longer than that, then also gets taken out, and that did not work without him in the game. At all. And partially a lot of it's his passing. It's him playing that sort of high post. It's him uh his rebounding. We started getting beat on the glass a little bit more, I felt like when he wasn't in the game. Gave up some
Hmm.
offensive rebounds, that kind of stuff. And also Jalen is just you saw it when they went on that run in the second half. When I mean I think they went on an 18-1 run or something crazy at the start of the second half. And Jalen brings and Note does too, but Jalen is such an energy um like he's such an energy source for the whole team. You can see that he really gets them fired up. He really he brings the juice with him, and the team feeds off it.
Hmm. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I mean, he's obviously the best passing big man that you've got, and if you're going to be playing against the zone, you certainly need that. Um, and I mean, I almost felt bad for that big guy that they had on their team because he did a pretty good job of getting. I mean, they got a lot of offensive rebounds. I mean, I think they had 15.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the poor guy, like, he's trying to rebound against Amude, Tony, Wade, Williams. Like, it's just you just can't get it. If the ball gets tapped at all, like there's
Yeah,
hands everywhere. Those guys, um, they're just long, strong, aggressive bodies. All those guys are, you know, like to get in a dogfight and rebound. And it was unfortunate for South Carolina that they really only had one big man to
right.
speak. That was like a true big man.
Yeah,
Um,
and it did. I mean, South Carolina. I mean, they had 18 turnovers, which is great on our. I thought our defense was good. I thought we played good defense the whole game. Defense continues to look good. 18 turnovers that really helped us, especially since we turned it over 11 times, which I know is still double digits, but you can live with 11 turnovers. You can. That's about. I know Musselman doesn't want double digits. 9 is the number, but 11. You don't want more than that, but 11's like okay.
yeah,
It wasn't you didn't watch that game like you like the same way you watched the last game and be like and get the feeling that we turned the ball over a ton. It didn't feel that way. It felt like an average amount of turning the ball over for a basketball team.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean they. I mean, I'm very pleased. Obviously, they, when that halfway through that first half, it was just like very frustrating because those guys, even guys that aren't like, that are new starters, are hitting step back threes. And you're just clanking everything. Even our jump shots weren't really going. It's like, how do we not have any guy? It started to feel like it did, 5 games ago, where it's like, how can we not have a guy that can shoot? This is crazy. These are Division I basketball players. They can't shoot the basketball. And but and of course the cynic in me is like, oh great, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna beat LSU on the road and then let South Carolina come in here at home and just miss everything. You know what I mean? But
yeah, ironically, like my faith was restored, and even at halftime, I didn't feel like we were going to lose that game.
no,
I think it's mostly because Note and Williams were out so long when they went ahead. I just felt like, if Jalen Williams would have picked up 2 more fouls and went back, I would have probably been a lot more nervous. I just never felt like, yeah, I think when we get those guys back in, I think we're going to be fine. It just felt that way.
I felt like we were gonna eventually, some shots were gonna start to fall and stuff. I really did think eventually we might hit a 3-pointer.
Well, yeah, we've done it for over 1,000 straight games. So yeah, I didn't figure that's the sort of streak that you can't believe would end in modern basketball. You're like, well, you're always going to hit one. I mean, that's
I mean, like, some of Note's threes, it's like they're difficult. He's being heavily guarded. He's having to cross people up and shoot quick release step back. It's like sometimes you're going to miss all 4 of those that you take or whatever. But some of them were like with Amude and even with Likes and Devo, they were shooting set, catch it in the pocket. It's like, dude, I can hit that shot. Like, how can nobody hit a shot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's weird to not hit 1-3. I mean, it's weird when we go, you go out and play pickup ball and you're playing a game of, playing a game to 21. If you won a game to 21 playing pickup ball and your team didn't hit 1-3, you'd be like, did we not hit it? That would be weird. There's always threes that go.
Oh, dude, I went to the community center the other day with Jamie, and we happened to get in a pickup game with. It was just happened that like 4 other older guys were there, so it was all of us. I was like the youngest guy in the team, and it was like, so it was all older, between in their 40s, and against a bunch of kids, literally 15-year-olds. And Jamie goes, hey, you want to play zone on these guys? They've probably never seen a zone. Dude, they shot the crap out of our faces in a zone. Like, they were like, yeah, we haven't ever seen a zone. I've never stepped up to the 3-point line and not had somebody right there. And they just shot us to death. The way people can shoot these days, it is weird that we're this team that is having to go back to, the 1950s and play attack the rim, hit jump shots basketball. But
tell you what,
as long as they keep winning.
Yeah, I tell you what I'm here for, though. I'm here for Jalen Williams being more involved on offense as a scoring piece. Give me some more of that. I love that he's a great passer and stuff, but they actually look like I might be wrong, but it looked like they made a point the first couple minutes of that game that they were going to try to get Jalen Williams the ball in positions to score.
Well, yeah, I think some of it was it might have been a conscious effort, but also some of it's just in the zone. That's the guy you want to get the ball to, in the middle there. How many of his points were free throws? It had to have been half.
Oh yeah, well he had 19 points. He was 9 of 10 from the free throw line, so he had 9 points from the free throw line, 10 regular. But that's the thing about Jalen. Like, Jalen could shoot a lot of free throws. He's that kind of guy. I mean, he's a guy to go get fouled. If you're not going to shoot threes, part of the plan has got to be, hey, we're not going to shoot. We're going to shoot like 10, 11 threes a game, but we are also going to get the ball to our post players and let them go get fouled. I mean, that's a good strategy to make up for that. Like, we're not going to shoot from the 3-point line. We're shooting from the free throw line. That's our plan. And it's a great plan. Yeah. It also works if you can do it, if you have the personnel to do it, which Arkansas does. Guys that can get downhill, bigger guys that want the ball in the post. They have all that stuff. It works also because it gets the other team in foul trouble.
Yeah, man, very frustrating if you're a South Carolina fan. There's nothing more frustrating than every time the other team drives, they throw it up there and they miss, but you foul them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so frustrating.
I will tell you this: if you're a South Carolina fan, I'll tell you what, man, you got a guard in Carter that is going to be a problem in the SEC for the next few years. I mean, that's a freshman,
Hmm.
and I know this was like his first start. That seems crazy to me. And
Hmm.
but he just has the look of somebody that you're like, man, that as a freshman, that dude's a problem. And he's probably a dude that's maybe gonna, you don't know about league potential or whatever, but maybe he can. But he seems like a dude that if he does, it will be at the end of his college career, and they've got 3 more years probably of that dude being really good.
Yeah. I'm not on social media at all, so I always wonder why our student section is booing certain players. I'm assuming it's like some smack talk on
Oh,
Instagram or something like that, or
there's a hashtag you can follow. There's somebody in charge of this. Somebody made themselves in charge of this, and he designates one player before the game even starts that they're just going to harass.
just boo for no reason. I mean,
Yeah,
I assumed it was like
no, just for no. He just says
one.
this is the guy. This game.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's anything. It's not their best player necessarily. I think it's just he just picks a guy and they're starting five, and he's gonna have the ire of the crowd the whole game.
I mean, it's fun for the fans. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm turning into an old man because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't like when they yell air ball at the other guy when they miss it the whole time or whatever. But it is part of the home court advantage.
That's
I,
it,
I
man.
definitely don't like it. It's fine if a guy's like, to me, the righteousness of basketball competition is like if the guy hits a three and then turns to the crowd and throws it up like what I mean, is talking back at the crowd, then hits shoots an air ball, then it's
Just
like
gotta let him
that's
have it.
all. Well, that's all good and fair. I don't like when you cheer airball for like 5 seconds after he airballed it right into the hands of his big man and then he freaking dunks it.
Here's the thing: I've never chanted airball ever in my life at a game, because I've airballed a shot
Yeah,
before. So
right.
I just don't do it, because I'm like, yeah, I've done that. And so I want you to airball every shot if you're playing my team, but I'm not going to yell at you about it.
Mhm.
I get that sometimes you throw up that airball. So um, I was surprised to see Muss. I mean, everything I had heard was that he was missing at least 2 games. That dude couldn't handle that. I guess if it's a home game, I guess he had to be there. And he did look um, not out of sorts, but he was not his regular self, for sure. And I'm sure he was been like, I'm here, and I can't stay away because I'm too competitive. But I am also in an insane amount of pain right now.
Yeah, I wondered because it's like he had to have been, he has to have some oxys up in there or something in order
Well,
to not just
they
be.
mentioned that he stopped taking the painkillers like a day ago. And then he was like, I'm gonna be at the game. I need to be clear headed. You're like, man,
Oh, okay.
you're a psycho.
Well, yeah, well, mainly just because I know he was sitting back or whatever, but still, did all it take. Like, imagine if somebody's looking back and going, "Yeah, I'll get it," and then just runs into you, like one of
Yeah.
those freaking 6'6" guys, like runs into your shoulder while
That's
you're
how
not
you
paying
got
attention.
that's how you got hurt in the first place, bro.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Would be
But
you only Trey Wade coming to save a ball and landing in your lap. Yeah, well, maybe you gotta wait for that thing to be healed up. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's a ton to talk about, other than I do think that we've seen the progress of them figuring it out, and it does seem that they have I think we're starting to catch on to and kind of see what it is that they've decided to do. You've seen it in the lineup. You've seen it in how the rotation is. I mean, without Johnson, who apparently is still not ready to go, I mean, they really only played. I mean, Likes played a little bit, but I mean, your minute breakdown is, Williams played 26. He would have played more if he would have been in foul trouble. Trey Wade played 31, Tony 33, Amude 30, Note 30. He would have played more if he hadn't gotten foul trouble. Devo Davis 32, Chris Likes 12, Robinson 4, Connor
and
Vanover
poor,
2.
I say poor Connor,
Yeah.
the worst 2 minutes of his. I mean, just got pushed around by that big guy.
So, I mean, I think that's probably settled on. I mean, I think Johnson will get minutes again when he comes back, but
Well, and I do think this game, if you want to look at really positive, I mean, it can only be helpful to. I still think a good solid zone with athletes that are similar to our athletes is going to be major trouble for us, like get beat by 20 points trouble. But it's certainly helpful to play a team that isn't a super tight zone and doesn't have the best athletes to work. I mean, do exactly what we did, which is figure it out, struggle, and then work it out and overcome it.
Well,
That's certainly helpful for the future.
the good news is that team is that team is rare. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I mean, they may not even exist in the SEC.
no, nobody plays. There's nobody in SEC that regularly. Like, I mean, South Carolina's the only. Like, I think it plays more zone than anyone else in the SEC, and that didn't work with them. Uh, there's teams out there that still play zone, but they're few and far between. And I'm not. And obviously, there's teams in the SEC that got amazing athletes, but I'm not worried if you have amazing athletes and you decide to play zone randomly one game, because I don't think that works either.
Well, it feels like with those teams, it is a decision they have to make. They're like, well, we play good defense in man, but this team would be better if we played a really good zone. So do we want to play a not so good zone or just try to ball out with our regular defense? And it is a conundrum for them. And obviously South Carolina thought they were, and I think they were probably right. They probably thought, well, they don't have the speed to play man, so we might as well try zone.
Yeah.
And it just didn't quite work.
Yeah, I don't know if it does work. So part of it not working was Arkansas being disciplined and not taking the bait. So that would have been a great idea if Arkansas would have shot like 8 more threes. They were talking about like I think the broadcasters were talking about a game that recently, the game where Tennessee got blown out and they shot 40 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it's taking the bait, and the zone won't really work that well if Arkansas decides that they're not going to do that. That's part of it, and it seems like they're not going to do that. That they're not willing to just shoot threes if they don't feel like that's the shot that they're going to. I mean, they're going to shoot some of them, but I mean, I don't know that Arkansas will shoot 23s again this year in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless they start making a bunch of them.
Right, which it does seem like some of those guys can shoot better than they have been. There's no doubt about that.
And Note didn't get good looks. They actually did a pretty good job for being in a zone of guarding Note.
Yeah. No, I have this vision of like us making the tournament as like a 6 or something like that, and then having to play Harvard or like Princeton or something, and even though we'll have 40 offensive rebounds, it'll still be a 2-point game in the last minute because they'll have hit 23s and have drawn 14 charges playing you know what I mean? Like that is what worries me, as a team that like really identifies as disciplined zone and shoots a lot of threes, because those are two things we struggle with, is guarding the perimeter and driving the basketball on a zone.
That'd be an interesting problem, but if we're gonna go to the tournament as a 6 seed, we're gonna have to go on the most incredible win streak in Arkansas basketball history, I think. Right now, I think we're still on the outskirts of the tournament. I think that we've got to win I would say we got to win 2/3 of the games going forward to make sure that we got that bid locked up. But hey, I mean, we're heading in the right direction. We get a great game coming up on Saturday where we get to take on Texas A&M for the little revenge match. Before we wrap it up here, since we're both tired and fighting disease, I think player of the game is obviously Jalen Williams for me. It is. I assume it is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back games for Jalen Williams being player of the game. I think this one was. Last time it was, because of your play in the last couple of minutes, I give you the edge. This one, I just think it was just overall, he's a player of the game. I think it's pretty easy. I will say that I like the way a lot of guys played, though. I thought Tony did some really good things. I mean, he was crashing hard. He got some timely buckets, just being gritty on the glass. Wade didn't do a lot. He had 5 points, 4 rebounds. It didn't seem like a ton, but I just like him on the floor, man. Like I like him as a defender. I feel like he gets his hands on a lot of balls. So I think a lot of balls that end up going as rebounds to other people are because he's just tapping that thing around. So
Right.
I really liked him.
And they're having to box him out. A lot of times their big man was having to box him out, and that allows Tony and Amude to get some of those rebounds on the weak side.
Yeah, so I mean, he had 31 minutes. I like that. I like the minutes he's playing. I don't think Wade has to score a lot to be. I don't think he needs to be that guy. I think what he's doing is fine. I mean, Tony's game was really solid. I mean, he had 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 13 points. I'll take that every game. You can give me that. That's fine. Amude had 30 minutes. He had 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 12 points. I'll take that from you. Note, still somehow finishes with 17 points. Like, I don't even know how he got 17 points. You would think, oh, he probably shot like a ton of free throws. He shot 8 of them, made 7 of them. I don't know where his other 10 points were just the most difficult layups on earth that he decides to make anyway.
A couple of them were in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. But the thing about him too is that, Note in a game where you're like, yeah, he played, like, that's fine, Note, but 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks. Did you like Note's blocking jump shooters? Like, he had 3 blocks. Those were all outside blocks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, so, no, man. I remember a couple of them. Him and that I can't remember his name, but that dude with the kind of dreadlocks had a little bit of a thing going.
Yeah,
that guy was a good player though.
Yeah, they were getting after it. And I actually felt like Devo played pretty well this game. I thought this was a better game for him. He just had 5 rebounds, 7 points, but he only had 1 turnover. And he was on the floor for 32 minutes. So, and I liked it. I thought he played good. So
I was saying it's interesting that Jalen Williams had such good games the last 2 games, because the game before that, I think it was the 3 games ago, he didn't play very much, and that was when they put in that lineup of Wade, and him and Tony Williams, and Tony actually sat quite a bit, and it was like, what's going on? And ever since then, I mean, I don't know if one might not be correlated with the other, but it certainly seems like he's stepped up his game.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And they look like they're having fun, man. Like, too. That was the big thing too. You could see them getting pumped up. That's the kind of contagious stuff that actually can carry over from game to game. They came out, I think they started okay. It wasn't good once Williams had to go out, but they started fine. And I thought they had a couple of games where they were down at halftime and then let it snowball. And even though I didn't feel like that was going to happen this game, it's still good that multiple games in a row now, we have seen them fix that second half thing where they were whatever, in typical Razorback fashion, in typical Razorback fashion, they are coming out and playing better in the second half, not worse. At least, which was happening for a little while there, where the first 7 minutes of the second half was like, what is going on? They're coming out in the second half of the last few games, and playing. Well, they were not playing terrible in the first half, but playing even better. And so you gotta like that. So,
well, just like I was worried about if teams play zone on us because our shooting, I'm now worried. Like, if I was a coach, I would be looking at Note and going, so this team doesn't really work without Note on the floor, and I'd be either doubling him and getting the ball out of his hands every possession, doubling him like at half court and making him pass the ball, or attacking him, like every play for the first 10 minutes is attacking him specifically on defense to try to get him in foul trouble. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's going to be I don't know, not the doubling part probably, but definitely the attacking Note to try to get him in foul trouble is going to be in something every coach that we play from this point forward tells somebody to do, for sure.
And he's gonna have to really
because Note wants to steal that ball from you.
That's what I mean. And you don't want to quash his aggressive defense, but you may have to tell him you're so important. You may not be able to reach at all those balls you want to reach at. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But, all right, dude.
All right, man. Well, Saturday, Texas A&M. Let's keep the win streak going. Arkansas now 500 in conference play, but the good news is they were 0-3. Now they're 3-3. Give it to me. That's a 3-win streak. I'd like to get that. I like to get that to about, I don't know, like 12. That's what I like to get it to. So let's just keep that rolling. I will see you on Saturday, man.
All right, dude. See ya.